What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and well, we got our first official update on Triston Casas right before today's game. Well, what might be tomorrow's first doubleheader game at this point. The Boston Red Sox, specifically Alex Cora, gave an official update on what was going on with Triston, and it may quite literally be worst case scenario. I think all of us were just sitting here hoping that once for this season, we would get some good news on the injury front, and we absolutely did not get that today. So what we are going to do in the second video today is talk about what is going on with Triston Casas, the latest update on his injury, what it means for his timeline, and obviously how this is going to impact the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. I don't think we really need to go into rehashing how Triston got injured or anything like that, because I think most people do know at this point. If you want more information on the initial injury, you can take a look at the video in my description. However, at that time, it had been diagnosed with a rib strain, right? That was sort of the idea. He had torn or pulled a muscle in his rib cage, and that's what he was going to be rehabbing from. But they did send him to Boston. It really felt ominous going forward. It felt like we were going to get some worse news about Triston Casas, and when he went to Boston to get his MRI, that's exactly what happened. Alex Cora, just a couple of hours ago, announced that Triston Casas' MRI result showed that he had fractured a rib. Now, obviously, this is a big difference between a rib strain and a rib fracture. I think the big reason why we're seeing such a discrepancy is, one, the Red Sox needed to get someone up here on this team who could play in a game, so they had to put him on the IL with something and didn't know the full extent of it. And two, because I think for the most part, we all just sort of expected this to happen. Again, Alex Cora was super ominous about it. Triston Casas himself was pretty ominous about it. It just never felt like this was actually going to be a rib strain. And that's a big reason why in our first video, I said it feels like Triston Casas is going to be on the IL a whole lot longer than 10 games. And yeah, this is going to take more than 10 games to come back from. Actually, it's going to take a whole lot more time than 10 days. The general assumption right now is, because they did not specifically identify what kind of fracture it is, the general assumption is that it is a stress fracture. This happens basically because Triston Casas' rib cage just simply could not take the torque that he was generating on his swing and just essentially cracked under the pressure. And coming back from this type of injury, a stress fracture of your rib cage can be a really tricky one. In fact, there isn't exactly a timetable laid out here. Alex Cora saying, quote, "We just have to be patient now. Timetable, there's none. This has to heal on its own. We've just got to be patient." Now, I'm not a doctor, nor is Google, so take this with a bit of grain of salt, but from what I could find, it normally takes about 3 months to fully heal from a stress fracture in your rib. It could be a little bit less time than that. It could end up being more time than that, but right now it looks like right around the 3-month mark is essentially where we should expect Casas to be on the IL for. I think in terms of best case scenario as to when we could see Triston Casas back on the field, you're looking at a bare minimum of 3 months. That would put Triston Casas coming back and rejoining the Boston Red Sox at the back end of August, basically in the last month of the season. And that's best case scenario. That's if at like, hey, 2 months and a week, he's progressing further along than normal. We can get him back into rehab games, slowly start to build him up, and then we could get him back at the end of August. I think it very realistically could be a whole lot longer than that. There's always bumps in the road with injuries like these because they're just so sensitive when it comes to how you utilize them and how you come back from them. Your rib cage is used in everything you do, right? You breathe at all times during the day. There's not really a point in the day where that's getting a true rest, so it's going to take some time, and it's going to be really tricky for Triston Casas to get this back 100%, and that makes me want to crawl out of my skin. I hate it so much because this was a big year for Triston. He had a good season last year. This is where he really took off and made himself one of the biggest names in Major League Baseball. He was on track to hit 45 plus home runs. He was on track to be the best hitter on the Boston Red Sox, and it's not only that, but us as fans coming into the season with, I'll be honest here, very little expectations for this team. Triston Casas was one of the most exciting players to watch on this club, and seeing how he developed not only on the field, but off the field as well. He was becoming a leader of the team, and having that raw robbed from us and from Triston in the first month of the season makes me want to die. Like, it is quite literally the worst case scenario for this injury. It's the worst case scenario for Triston, and it's obviously the worst case scenario for this team. If we want to talk about how this is going to affect the team, it's absolutely brutal. Really, right now, there aren't very many adequate options to replace Triston Casas on the field, off the field, basically anywhere. There never really is going to be an adequate replacement for a guy like Triston Casas, just like there really isn't going to be an adequate replacement for Trevor Story. You're just going to have to mix and match. Right now, Alex Cora is saying that Bobby Dahlbeck is his first baseman. I think he just kind of has to say that, right? I don't think he wants Bobby Dahlbeck in an everyday role at first base for the entire year. I certainly don't think the Red Sox front office wants Bobby Dahlbeck in a everyday role going forward. I think, one, it not only diminishes any value that he has left, not that he has any to begin with, but two, it obviously creates a massive hole in the lineup and on the field as well. So I don't think Bobby Dahlbeck is the answer there. There are some pretty interesting options when it comes to AAA depth. Any of the big name prospects you're thinking of probably aren't ready for Major League Baseball. Even the options in AAA, they're not exactly polished, perfect answers. I think there is one guy who feels like an obvious fit, and that's Nico Cavadas. We actually made a video on how he could replace Triston Casas in this lineup and on the field earlier today, if you want to take a look at that. Overall, you look at the AAA depth, and yeah, there could be some partial answers there, but no one's really going to solve the problem that is first base for the Red Sox going forward. The other option the Red Sox have is one that I don't know how excited or willing to do it they are, and that is going out and getting someone either on the free agent market or via trade. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people say they need to trade for someone either in a minor league system or outside of a minor league system on a major league club, and that's a really difficult ask. One, because the Boston Red Sox already are being really conservative with their prospects. Craig Breslow, it's his first year in a CBO role. It's his first year in the Red Sox organization. He's basically assessing what he has. He doesn't want to sell too early before he's got the full situation assessed. But the other reason is because now every team in Major League Baseball knows that of your two positions on the infield, two of them are gigantic holes, shortstop and first base. They know that your back is as far up against a wall as it could possibly get, and they're going to look to screw you over on anyone you come to talk to them for. I tried to talk about Paul DeYoung. They're going to be asking the world of Chicago White Sox. Someone brought up maybe we trade for Michael Chavis just to get a body in here. Again, even guys like that where they are quad A players or people who can't even play at a major league level on a team like the Nationals are going to be worth a whole lot more than you would normally pay for them, and I don't think the Red Sox are willing to actually do that, which basically just leaves free agency. I don't think we see a move in the immediate future in free agency because on May 1st, a lot of guys who are signed to minor league deals and have not made their major league club yet have the option to opt out. You're going to get some more interesting options available on that March 1st date. A guy like Joey Votto, who's with the Toronto Blue Jays right now, has an option on May 1st to opt out of his minor league deal and become a free agent. It's not a perfect solution, but I think it's a lot better than having Bobby Dahlbeck play there for 140 games. I don't think anyone in this world wants to see, as much as I love Bobby, he's not an everyday player anymore. He could be used as a platoon, maybe a little bit, right? Going out and getting a guy like Joey Votto might be able to do that. There's options already on the free agent market. A guy like Garrett Cooper, who the Red Sox were really interested in this offseason, was just DFA'd with the Cubs. He's having a really good season so far. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning there is for DFAing him, but that could fall down to the Red Sox and could be a perfect answer as to how to fix this Red Sox hole at first base right now. Brandon Belt, who was really solid last year for the Toronto Blue Jays, is an option. He's a free agent. He had a 136 OPS plus, by the way, last year. It's really productive from the batter's box. At that age, you don't entirely know what you're going to get on the field, and if he can even play that many games on the defensive side of things. CJ Cron is still out there, right? The Red Sox had him during spring training. I don't love CJ Cron. I think his back issues are much deeper than we are seeing let on. I also don't think his bat is playing all that well at a competitive level anymore. I don't love that option, but it is someone to pay attention to. But you look at these options and it's like, man, none of these are going to be exciting. They're going to be, okay, sure, yeah, now we can mend that hole at least defensively or at least offensively a little bit. But a guy like Triston Casas going down for the Boston Red Sox for this long a period of time, especially with something like a rib fracture that's so difficult to get fully healed and feel 100% again, might be my worst nightmare. I love Triston Casas. You guys know how much I love Triston Casas. All of you love Triston Casas. I can't remember the last time someone had a bad word to say about Triston. There's no solution to this problem. It's going to be a problem the entire year, and the Red Sox are just going to have to find a way to deal with it. But man, I'm absolutely heartbroken for Triston. I'm heartbroken for the Red Sox. I'm heartbroken for us. Having Triston Casas on this team made this team more fun to watch. Now that he's not on here, it's going to be a lot less fun to watch, even if they are playing competitive baseball. It makes me want to lose my mind watching all these guys go down with such significant injuries. But at the end of the day, again, the update on Triston Casas is that it's a stress fracture of his rib and not a rib strain, and that he's going to be spending a whole lot more than 10 days on the IL. The big question right now is, do the Red Sox have what it takes to go out there and fix this problem? Because I don't think it's with anyone on this current roster, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think? I'm assuming you're not exactly pumped about this news, so let me know how you think it affects the Red Sox and what do you think their next move should be now. Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox injury update in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button as well. You made it to the end here. You might as well do both. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.